In today's episode of my podcast story, we have Heather Stewart, a dynamic transformation facilitator and the host of the Back to Me podcast. Heather is known for her unique approach to wellness, seamlessly blending her corporate finance background with her passion for holistic health. After navigating her own journey away from societal expectations, she now empowers midlife women to reconnect with their inner purpose through her signature Thriving Life method. With a mission to help others create fulfilling lives, Heather's story is one of resilience and inspiration. She's here to share her transformative journey and the impact her podcast has on guiding women toward a life that truly resonates with their heart. Can you tell us your name and the name of your podcast, and then what your podcast is about?
So my name is Heather Stewart, and my podcast is called Back to Me. And yes, I know. Well, it came about because I had been doing a business podcast called Build a Better Business, because my former career, I was an accountant, and then I went into wellness, and I was helping health and wellness people who didn't understand how to have a business. So I had this business podcast. But in 2021, I had a stroke. And it was kind of shocking because I was really healthy. But I was in the hospital because it was during COVID. No one was allowed to visit me. And it was very busy, so there was no beds in the hospital. So I was in the emergency room for 3 days and not knowing what was going on. So I was laying in the emergency room and I couldn't see properly because a lot of people will use their phones to escape and scroll. Yeah. They don't want to look at what's going on. So I was laying there. I couldn't look at my phone because I was cross-eyed. I couldn't see properly. And I said, okay, I was kind of like, okay, universe, why did you send me to the hospital? Why am I laying here with nothing to do but think? And I realized that the coaching that I was doing, the business coaching I was doing was helpful, but it was too limited because even when you're helping people with business, life always comes in. Yeah. So I realized, okay, so what I have to do has to be bigger. It has to be bigger. It has to help people in a bigger way. So I realized that the physical health, we need to talk about physical health. We need to talk about your emotional health. We need to talk about the relationships you have around you. And all this was coming because as I was in the hospital and I knew that I was physically unable to do things, all of these other pieces of life started coming in to support me. I felt emotionally good. My community was supporting me. My job was okay, even though I was in the hospital. Financially, I was okay, and I was sitting there talking to the universe. I'm like, okay, these are all pieces of someone's whole life, and I need to figure out a way to communicate to people that taking care of yourself is important, because when you take care of other people more than you take care of yourself, you end up burnt out and you can't help people. So I started saying, okay, I have to teach people too that it's not selfish to take care of themselves because it actually helps them be helpful in a bigger way. So that's where the podcast came from. I said, okay, so I'm going to change my podcast to Back to Me, and I'm going to talk to all these amazing people, and I'm going to tell amazing stories about how to give people a different perspective about, because self-care, people always feel like, oh, I can't do self-care. I'm too busy. Everybody else, I've got the kids, I've got the husband, I've got the parents. I'm like, okay, you can't help any of them if you get sick, right? So that's how it kind of evolved from this business podcast to full into helping people in as big a way as I can. And part of it was also for the last because I'm in season 4, for the past 4 years, was finding all of these people who are really good at helping people with specific parts of their life and highlighting them on the show, because that gave them an audience. So by helping other people, by helping my other people, I'm helping my audience. So it's like win, win, win.
Win-win.
And I would always learn something new. No matter who I talked to, they would always teach me something. I was like, wow, that's so amazing. I mean, I wouldn't have been in the podcast this long if I wasn't enjoying it, right?
Yeah. Oh, how old is the podcast?
How old is it? Well, we're in season 4, so it will be 4 years old in a few months.
You said that it happened in COVID period. That's about 2019, 2020.
Yes. Well, it started in 2021. So I had a business podcast at the beginning of COVID, like in 2019, and then it flipped over. So I have been podcasting for 5 years, even though this one's only been 4 only.
Did you rebrand
podcasts don't last that long.
The business podcast, or you just started another one?
I just started another one.
Okay.
I left the business podcast up, and it still gets some people listening to it because it'll come up in the searches of some of the episodes people are looking for answers on. Like I would kind of teach people in the podcast how to do things. So it's still there and it still exists. And the current podcast is currently it's on Spotify. Like the major platforms are Spotify and Apple and YouTube. But interestingly, next month I'm switching to a new network. So it'll be on 300 live TV stations and over 80 audio platforms. And I'm going to have a producer. Okay. I'm up leveling.
Wait, what? Can you tell us about the network, or is it one of those things like, nah?
I can tell you. I can totally tell you. Okay. So it's called the Inspired Choices Network, and it's online. So there's actually someone on one of my podcasts is a member of that network, and she told me about it. So I started to investigate it, and it's almost like it's internet. It's like TV. Like every day there are different hosts of programs presenting their show. And it's live. They're all live. So I've joined that network. I'm going to have a producer now. So when you first start a podcast, it's not uncommon to do it all yourself, as you know. You were doing everything, the graphics, the write-up, the show notes, the posting, the whole shoot and match. And it's in your best interest to figure out how to streamline that. So after many, many years, I've streamlined it. But now I'm going to have somebody else doing it. So it's called Inspired Choices Network, has lots of different channels on it. And I will be live every Wednesday starting in June at 1 p.m. Canadian time, Eastern time. It's going to be like, I think it'll be, I don't know, nighttime where you are. I don't know what the time difference is.
What's the time? What's your time right now?
8 p.m.
Okay, mine is 8 p.m. or 7:57.
Well, 7:57, yeah.
Okay. If it's 8 p.m. there, it's 2 a.m. for me. Sorry, it's 1 a.m., which means that's how many hours? That's 5 hours difference.
5 hours. Wow.
5 hours.
You are either up late or early. Either you're still up or you got up.
None of the above.
You did both. You don't sleep.
Yeah. I mean, if you put it away,
1 p.m, so it'll be 6 p.m. your time.
Okay.
When I have my live show, that's not so bad.
Yeah, that's not so bad. Wow, that's like it's what kind of excites me the most is the fact that you met this person that introduced you to this network by interviewing them as a guest on your podcast.
Yeah, exactly. And because whenever I interview someone on my podcast, I'm always, because I want to help. Part of my objective was always to help them. So it's like, and then they always want to help you back. Like it's like life, when someone helps you, you want to help them. So I wanted to help them. So they would always try to figure out ways to collaborate and help me in some way. Sometimes the way they help me is by sharing my podcast because they've been on it. So I always make sure my guests always know when their episode comes out so they can share it with their network, because then that'll bring them over to my podcast and maybe they'll find other stuff they want to listen to. So it's like always looking. When it's shifted. When I used to work in corporate finance where it was always every man for himself, but now I feel like the world is shifting to how can I help you? Because if I help you, I know that you will eventually help me, or someone will want to help me. But there's also the balance of not overdoing it so you don't burn yourself out, which is the podcast.
Right. Back to me. Oh.
Back to me.
How did that name, like, I'm like, of all the names you could have picked, why Back to Me?
Well, this is where it gets a little woo-woo. So I asked the universe what the name of it should be, and that's what it said. It just like funked into my brain, said, back to me. And the subtitle of it was for a long time, Back to Me, Wellness Your Way, right? So it was helping people understand that everybody has a different way of wellness. So a lot of people will follow the latest trends, and it's not necessarily going to work for you, right? So I've been in the wellness industry a long time now, and people will say, oh, I'm doing the paleo diet, I'm doing this diet. I'm like, and does it work for you? Because just because it works for someone else doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So it's like Wellness Your Way was always giving people permission to be healthy in a way that works and supports them, really. And if they can do that, they'll be happier and healthier, really.
Yeah. Quickly, I just want us to look at where the podcast is at right now. You doing audio only or audio and video?
I do audio and video. I've always done audio and video. So what I do is I used to do it live. I used to do it live every Friday. And what I found was, and which is interesting because I'm going back to live, what I found was, maybe because I was pretty new still, it was challenging to get guests there on time with all their technology working properly. And sometimes they would cancel, and I'd be like, well, I have a live show that I've committed to, and my guest is canceled. So then it would leave me scrambling. So I started to do recordings. So I would record them all, and I would batch record. So I'd pick one day a week where I would record like 2-3 episodes, depended on, I used to do 4, and then I found that was too tiring. So I cut it back because you have to be engaged and understand who you're talking to. So lately I've only been doing 2, but I would batch record them, and then I would schedule them to release. And the video would release to, I was using StreamYard. Well, I still use StreamYard. The video released to YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and it would live stream those to those platforms. And then the audio I put on Spotify, and Spotify will populate Apple and this miscellaneous other RSS feeds and things. Like I can't even remember the names of them all. There's so many of them. But that's like you setting all of that up and you making sure you upload everything all the time and you writing everything. Now, it made it easier with the recordings because I could schedule them out. So like right now, I have enough recordings that would take me into August because a little bit of front end work can save you time so you can take some time off in the summer and maybe not have to work so hard. But now that I'm switching to live, it's part of when you switch platforms. I'm going to leave all of the previous episodes on their current platforms, which is basically, the YouTube and Spotify and Apple. But the new platform will be populating kind of like the same channel, but on a same show, but on a different station. And I'm looking at taking some of my old episodes with me just as things people can look up. So there's challenges when you're changing platforms of how you want to do it to maintain the integrity of the show and to get your listener base to come with you because it's going to be somewhere different that they're not used to. But the loyal listeners will always go and find you.
Yeah.
Really.
Something I wanted to ask you is, ever since you mentioned the TV network, do you own the copyrights to the content you'll be making on this network?
Yeah, you should always make sure you own your stuff. And you can't ever stop people from borrowing your thing or building on your idea, which is fine because that's where good ideas come from. But you should always, I think you should always make sure you own your information because especially when you're a sole proprietor, your information is basically your whole business, right?
Yeah.
Now, when I talk to other people on their podcasts, I'm happy to share whatever I have. I mean, they get to use my content. They get to use what I say to them in a way that serves them. But at the same time, I'm getting in front of other people. I'm getting in front of other people's audiences. And I don't mind. I share basically what I share anytime I post on social media. It's like nothing that's going to cause problems for my own paid content. And under the new program, under my new network, I've hit the point where now I'm actually looking for sponsorships. So I'm doing paid ads if people want advertisements that align with the messaging of my show. Then I'm making it inexpensive, but it's also to help fund paying for being in a new network. So
wait.
The cycle continues.
You're paying to be on the network.
Oh, yes, nothing is free.
Now,
So
I want to ask a question, but I don't know if you can share it with us. But if you can, please do. If you cannot, just tell me, no, oh, I can't share that with you, and then we'll just move on.
The network has multiple levels of membership that you can join at, and because they've posted it on their website, I can tell you, I'm paying.
Okay.
I'm paying $1,000 a month.
A month, and then you're basically on 80 radio stations, 300.
300 plus TV stations. They do all of the website stuff. They promote it through all the social media channels. It's almost like you're paying someone to do it. I tell them what I'm going to talk about. I come and I do my show, and then I'm done.
Wait.
It's like,
wait.
Yes,
It sounds like a no-brainer, because this is it for me. It's not even the production aspect that I'm looking at, because this is it. Usually when podcasters start getting sponsors of their show, it's usually very difficult. The reason being that they don't have an audience, right? But now, because you're on radio stations and you're on TV stations, you can easily say that I'm on these stations, and people will not doubt whether you have audience or not. You basically latch on their audience, and you get ads and sponsorships, and you can actually really charge very well for them, because now, if you were to get a sponsor, the sponsor will be on these 300 TV stations, 80 radio stations. So not just one.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I mean, my intention, I never really intended to have my income source be my podcast. I was doing the podcast as I want to share this information, but the income from the sponsors will pay for the network. So it's that's all taken care of, and boom, Bob's your uncle. And it is true, getting that big a coverage of audience, that takes a long time to build if you're trying to build a podcast from scratch. And there's a lot of podcasts now, so many podcasts. If your SEO isn't right, they can't find you, and all of these things. It's so any advantage you can have, go for it. Anything that will help you be seen more. All of the podcasts I go on, I try to speak on at least one to two podcasts a week for somebody else's podcast, so that I can promote my podcast and promote my messaging, because they're looking for guests. I'm I'll be your guest. I'll come and talk to you. And yeah, it's win all around. And I was using that to get more guests, more listeners on my own podcast. But now I'm this will be even bigger.
Yeah, because right now, what's running through my head is, let's assume, right? Let's just assume. Let's not talk big numbers. Let's say 300, right? Let's say for each of the stations, right? Let's say if I said 100 persons, that would be too small, right? Let's say 100 persons listen to that. On each station, 100 persons listen to it across. I don't know what the coverage of those stations are, but 100 persons, that's very conservative number, and that's 300,000 persons gets to listen to every one of your show. Now, the sweet thing is, you can add a call to action on every of your show, that if you would love to check the backlog or look at this stuff and everything, you can check us on Spotify and this, and now your audience will grow, and you're basically playing. Ooh, this, I need to get on the TV network. Right, honestly, wow,
right?
This is brilliant. Yeah,
it is brilliant. It is the woman who is running the network. I met with her, and she's brilliant just to begin with. She's a brilliant business strategist. And even before I signed on, she started giving me suggestions and coaching me on things that were with my current podcast. And then I was like, well, I need more of what she's got going on there. And she said, well, come over to the network. I said, okay, I'm in, because she was already helping me just because she just saw things that I could have improved in my podcast. I said, she's really smart. She's got a lot going on over there. I got to connect with her more. So you can make it as big as you want it to be.
Yeah, for me, I'm curious to know how the numbers will change on your podcast, like how this being on this radio and TV station would affect your podcast, if it will even affect. I know it will make it grow like way faster than it would have grown like at the normal rate, right? But I don't know how many months should we wait before we'll come back and we'll look at the numbers and say, oh, how's it now? How's it going?
Right. Well, things take a few months to get traction. So if I go live in June, say like in the fall, like October, November, we should check in and see how much it's
June, July, August, September, October. Okay,
I'm going
October.
away in September. That's why I say October.
Okay, October, November. Okay. Yeah, we'll have a chat on how things working. So they get to produce your show, and you're still releasing on your own podcast platforms.
Well, especially because I have this backlog of all of these shows that I've done. It's going to keep going. And while I'm releasing new shows, I'm going to say, come over to the new network. So there's going to be an overlap for a few months to say, hey, come over to the new network. Hey, come over to the new network. And with the old platform, once I get through my backlog, I don't know if I will keep the pace that I did.
Wait. Yeah. There's something that's quite confusing right now. That is, what do you mean by come over to the new network?
By say what?
You said come over to the new network. Like, what do you mean?
So my current podcast is like I'm producing it and I'm putting it on YouTube and let's say just YouTube and Spotify. So the new network is going to be on a new website. Like I'll have my own page on the networks, on the network's website. I have my own page for my station, my channel, and they take care of everything. So the old podcast will still be there, but it won't have the new stuff necessarily connected to it.
Wait, I'm curious to know why the switch. I get the part where they create a website for you. Like they can create a website for you and have all your podcasts be on the website without having to touch your podcast host or any of those things. Or like, why can't you just keep on publishing on your current host?
That's not what they do. They've already got their system set up. So imagine if they have like 20 or 30 different shows and they say, oh, this person's show I have to publish here, this person's show I have to publish here. So they've got it all contained in one site and potentially, but I don't see a reason. Like I could see that it doesn't serve a purpose to keep the old one. People are used to things changing. So it's just a change. It's just a change in the way of doing things. Like I used to do 2 shows a week. Now for the past couple of years, one day I came onto the podcast and said, I'm not doing 2 shows a week anymore. It's too tiring. I'm going down to 1 show a week. And I was doing a business podcast. And one day I said, I'm not doing the business podcast anymore. I'm switching. I'm going to this. So I think people are used to now things not being the same all the time forever and ever, so because I have this many months of overlap, inviting people over to the new page will actually be almost more attractive to them because the new page looks nicer. The new page has professional graphics that are going to be on it instead of ones that I've done. It's going to have professional editing. And it's going to feel like they're looking at an actual TV show instead of Heather's Garage,
Yeah. So what you're saying right now is that when you move to this new network, what will happen is that your show will no longer be released on Spotify and Apple.
It will be, but under a different. See, I don't think they can link the two. Yeah.
Oh, I understand. I get it. Okay. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah. Hooray. Oh, that's true. When is your podcast bed?
The one that's going to be live?
Yeah, like your like this podcast right now. When is the bed?
When is a bad day?
Birthday anniversary.
Birthday. Got it. November.
Okay. As I said, we do.
I was in the hospital in October, and I started as soon as I got out of the hospital.
Wow. Okay. So I perfectly understand everything now. So your show would be, I get. I understand because what I want is okay. Let me try and explain what I understand. Everything this platform is doing now. Their network, they have a ton of podcast hosts and a ton of podcasts on their network. So they have like a full system that they manage and do everything and operate everything on, right? And they have a particular podcast host that they use, right? Now, what I'm thinking is that when you join the network, you'll be added to the podcast. You'll be added to the podcast network. And let's say, for example, I don't know the host they use, but let's say they use Buzzsprout. You know Buzzsprout, right?
Yes, I know it.
Okay, let's say they use Buzzsprout, right? The thing is that if you were to switch your host individually, let's say you were not joining any net, there's a way where you'll be able to like migrate your previous episode to this new host and then redirect the link of the old host to the new host such that listeners will not even know that anything changed. They'll still be receiving the new episodes again and again.
Now, I could have this wrong, but I think they have their own proprietary hosting.
Oh,
because they also have they have an app. They have their own app where you can get people to download their app. Yeah, they have a whole thing happening here. Like I'm just looking over on their website. Like they're on Apple TV, they're on Google TV, they're on Roku.
I don't know, but we will not be breaking any copyright law if we show the screen. Like people do screen recordings every now and then. It's on a private website. It's not sensitive information or any of those things. Because I would love for you to do a screen record, a screen share for those that are watching on YouTube.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah, you should see you should see the feature. Yeah, so we can see. Wow, this is really amazing. You know? Because usually for most of the persons I used to see that they tell me that they've been on TV network, it's usually the TV station contacts them. But right now it appears that like I'm thinking this Inspired Choice is like a network in between that's kind of connects all the TV station and then disperse your content to all of them. So you get kind of like a middleman between you and the TV station.
Right? Yeah, maybe. Here, can I share it?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
So this is it. Can you see it?
Yeah, the Inspired Choice Network. Wow.
Look at all of these podcasts and TV. So if I go to, so here's their TV show schedule and 450 platforms.
450. Wow. So if even that's a ton of that audience is huge.
Right.
Okay. Most popular sites: Apple TV, Google TV, LG Smart TVs, Amazon Fire TV,
iHeartRadio. A lot of people use that.
Smartphone app. Wow.
Yeah, they have their own smartphone app.
So audio podcast platforms. Wow.
So there's so many. I was like, I haven't even heard of most of these.
300 TV platforms. Wow.
So, but I think that number is old because up here it's like 450 platforms altogether. Maybe that's what she means.
Yeah.
And she has articles. She has her apps. They do a summit as well. And they're like, you can go look at the packages of what they offer, right?
Okay, so let's see.
There's hosting packages like Emerald, Diamond. She's got all these cool names for them. Pearl.
Ooh, $25,000. 17. Ooh.
Like, look at this.
Ooh.
Now that's like big time, right? I'm not in that one.
Is that like 1 year or in a month?
That's a year, yeah.
That's a year. Okay.
But look, you get 52 episodes. You get personal production. It's distributed over all of the platforms. You have resources to grow. They train you how to do things properly so that you look professional. And the more you pay, the more you get. You get a master class, you get personalized support, you get Like, it's just pretty awesome, really, I gotta say. And then if you look at mine's not up there yet because I haven't sent my information in yet. I'm working on that now, but if you look at this is all their professionally produced info and all the shows that they have. There are dudes here, the long bearded guy. Right?
Yeah.
Like, look at all these shows that they have. That's why I say they've got their system in place, and
Yeah.
that's what they're using. Inspired
Oh, I
transition.
guess it now. So what it appears as if like you're starting a new show, but
Yeah.
everything will be on everywhere, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, but for me, it's the fact that I'm still trying to wrap my head around how that amount works because they are producing the show for you and they're distributing for you. You're also paying for hosting in that amount plus the whole lot of other benefits.
I don't pay for my podcast. My current podcast, I don't pay anything. Like, I pay to
Yeah,
use StreamYard, but I use StreamYard all the time anyway.
yeah, you're using Spotify for podcasters like me, which is free.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but other than Spotify for podcasters, every other person's that use other hosts, it's paid.
Yeah.
We don't know when Spotify will say, okay, they want to change the law and say, no more free hosting, something else.
Right.
Yeah.
And because I'm in Canada, like, Spotify does monetization if you're in the States, but I can't.
Ooh. Oh, but you can't use it in Canada.
I'm in Canada, right? So I'm like, you monetize the Spotify platform. And they ask you if you have advertisements, and I don't know what they do to you if you have ads, like if they change what you're doing. And YouTube, you have to have a certain size audience to monetize, even though, and then then you don't get to manage what ads they're showing. Like, at least on this platform, I decide who's going to be advertising, and I want that to be aligned with my message. I don't want them to be advertising something that goes against what I'm trying to say to people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You have full creative control of what and what doesn't show on your show.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh.
Because YouTube will throw up anything, right?
Yeah, they just put anything. And then here's the annoying part. If you choose to say, oh, I'm not going to put any ads on my show, I don't want YouTube to put any ads, YouTube is going to put ads whether you monetize or not, and they will take the money. So you might as well just take from the money instead of having YouTube take everything.
Yeah, take it the middleman.
Yeah, whether you yeah, you might as well like take it, even if you would donate it to charity or whatever you want to do with the money, as well take yours too, because YouTube is going to put ads whether you monetize, whether you don't monetize, whether you up to the number or not. It's none of their business. As long as your content is there, they're going to put their ads there.
Yeah, and they love it. And if you don't get ads, you're paying YouTube to not show you ads, so you're paying them anyway. YouTube Premium. They're constantly trying to pay for. I'm like, I'm not paying you.
Yeah, when you do premium, but the premium is just for you. It doesn't even it doesn't control the ads that show on your viewers end. Yeah, wow, like this is a major milestone for you. I'm super I feel like I'm the one that just like got this deal or arranged. I'm very happy for you. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm super excited, and I can hook you up with the woman if you want. I can hook you up.
The way you say it's like, can you hook me up with your supply?
Yeah, exactly.
I need that stuff.
Okay,
I need that stuff.
I'll meet you.
I need that stuff. Yeah. So don't tell anyone I told you of anything. Like, please, if you heard anything, just keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
See, I'll deny.
Everybody listening, don't tell anybody.
Don't tell anybody. Oh, that would be super amazing. Well, of course, after this episode, I'm going to go to the website and do my own digging around and look at everything and see how everything is going.
Research. And by the way, if you do talk to her, if anybody does talk to her, say that I sent you, because I credit for that.
Yeah. But apart from that, I get like, say, hey, Heather is my friend. She was the one like, and like, yeah. Even though I just spoke to you for like 40 minutes. We're old time friends. We've known for a very long time.
It's all good. Maybe we need each other in another life.
I mean, 40 minutes is a long time. It depends on how you're looking at it. It's all perspective. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. How did you meet or reach out or even connect with these guests in the first place?
I am on if you're not on this and you're on it, Podmatch.
Yeah, that's how we met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's how we met.
Yeah.
Podmatch. So I get lots of guests from Podmatch. And either that, I can't remember. Her name was Dolores. She either came from Podmatch or the Inspired Choices Network. Because I need a guest.com. Because I'm in two of those directories. Podmatch, I really like Podmatch. I was in the I Need a Guest group first. And I was getting good guests from that. But I found when I moved to Podmatch, there's a coach in Australia who told me about Podmatch. Even better. Like it just was better.
Seamless.
So easy to organize your episodes and keep track of things, and everything is there. It's just way better.
Yeah. I think Podmatch has made me lazy for some time now. Like when I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to like reach out to the guest and then hope they respond. Like, nah, not interested. Not interested. Yeah, because on Podmatch, if someone
have to, because they'll come to you.
Yeah. If Podmatch, if someone rejects my invitation, I know that it's because my show is not the right fit for them, not because they don't want to be on my podcast. They're not interested in podcasting, right? It's okay, maybe they just appear just on very specific niche podcast, and they're like, oh no, I don't like that stuff. That's it, and I get it, and I move on to the next one. I message the next one, and I'm like, yeah, wow, thanks, Podmatch.
I mean, and I've been on, I think I've only been on Podmatch like 8 months or something. And but I've I applied to a whole bunch of podcasts, and some will say no. I'm like, okay, well, what? Like, I don't care. I just keep applying, and the ones I get on are super interesting. And it's true. Like, there'll be people who applied to my podcast who I think they don't quite. Or so it's nothing. It's nothing personal. Yeah, it's just doesn't align. So I think people understand that, because the people that I've all talked to have been pretty awesome.
Yeah, but I see that usually if you do your homework before you even message them in the first place, like they would like accept you. Like if you do your homework, right? Instead of just pitching to every podcast, every guest, you're like, okay, this person, like, I noticed that you do this stuff. I'm a so person. I can think this stuff will be valuable for your audience. That way, they know that, okay, instead of just sending a generic copy and paste pitch to everybody, and you just see, once you see the pitch, you know that, okay,
well, and also,
and this is the same thing.
The because they'll match you with podcasts to speak to. Like, I'll read it and I'll go, no, pass. Like,
Pass.
I don't want to talk to that one. I don't want to talk to that one. Being discerning as a podcast guest of what podcasts you choose, and then being as a podcaster, being discerning who you have on your podcast. When I was early on, I would talk to almost anybody, because I thought, oh, I'm going to run out of people, not knowing there were so many people looking to be on podcasts. Yeah. Some of my old episodes, I'm not even going to, I'm not going to move them over to the new channel, because I'm like, that conversation sucked. So I'm not going to not bring them with me. Yeah. But then when you're brand new, you're like, oh, I've got to talk to everybody who wants to talk to me, because you don't realize that you can pick.
Yeah.
Choose who to talk to.
Yeah, so true.
One of the super important things I think about podcasting is knowing the reason you're podcasting, right? And when I first started, I didn't my reason for podcasting became fine-tuned, because every time I used to pre-interview people before I had them on the podcast. I would talk to them, and then I would talk to them on the podcast, and it took a lot of time, but it got me to realize, as I was explaining to them what the podcast was about, that's how I fine-tuned. This is what the podcast is for.
Ooh.
Right?
Brilliant.
So knowing what the podcast is for helps you know who to talk to and what the message is. And that took a little bit of practice. You're never perfect in the beginning. You're always figuring it out along the way. That was a super helpful thing for me to realize when I realized what the podcast like what the reason was I was doing it and who it was helping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what would you say is like, of all what would you say is like the most exciting thing for you about podcasting? Like the thing that excites you in podcasting?
The people I get to meet.
Yeah, I
Right?
feel like all the guests they have the same answer. I wanted to say don't say that, but
I've talked to over 250 people
wow.
on my podcast. Yeah, I counted them up the other day. I've talked to over 250 people. And every single time I talked to someone, even if the conversation I thought was not the greatest, every time I talked to someone, I learned something new or I had a different idea of how something worked. So imagine it's like I took 250 courses, right?
Yeah.
Short form. But and I've bought people's books and I've subscribed to people's newsletters and I've taken people's courses because I thought, wow, that's a great course. So like actual courses, not just talking to them. So I even talked to a sexual fantasy expert once and I was a little nervous to talk to her, but she blew my mind. Like she was so smart. And I thought, wow, that's amazing. Like I was scared to talk to her, but she was one of the best episodes that I had because she was just so interesting. And it was about sex, but it wasn't about sex. Sex sells. No, I'm kidding. Don't talk about sex on your podcast. Well, you can.
Yeah. It's your podcast. You can do whatever you like.
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
If it's explicit, you got to mark it explicit. If people
Yeah. I hope these things we just said will not make this episode explicit. No, we didn't say anything. Like all the words we said are clean words. Yeah.
Yeah.
On the clear.
You don't have to swear to get your point across, except for some.
Yeah. 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 Like we want to be family friend. Like that's what I want to show. It's for me. It's the fact that doing it over time, you kind of like you retreated your process. And I know that guesting the first time wasn't exact. How was your first guesting experience like as a podcaster?
It actually was okay, but I think it's because, so I've been teaching yoga for like over 20 years, and I've been teaching online for like pre-COVID. I've probably been teaching online for like 10 years. So I was already used to talking to the computer. I was already used to talking to this little funny green dot and like my computer camera. And I had done recordings before, so I was used to kind of just talking when nobody was there. So I always I have clients who want to teach. I say, well, just record videos, talk to the computer. And they're like, I said, well, nobody's going to see it. Like, who cares? Just record them, like practice. But they're even nervous just to talk to a green dot. So I used to have a little stuffed animal that I would sit right above. So one of my friends used to do TV announcing. And you're gone. I don't know where he went. I'll just hang out until he comes back. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yes. So one of my friends used to be a TV announcer, and he would sit a little stuffed animal above his computer camera, and talk to the little computer camera, or the little stuffed animal, which I thought was hilarious. So I got myself a little stuffed animal, but I don't need it anymore, so I don't know where it's gone. What else can I tell you about podcasting while we wait for our friend to come back? I think his internet might have crashed, and I don't even know if we're still live streaming or if we were live streaming to begin with, which is fine. So this is the perfect example of why you should practice talking to your computer to make yourself comfortable talking on other people's podcasts, because you'll get used to just talking and not filling space like a politician fills space where you just talk and they're not saying anything, but being okay with speaking what you need to get across.
Hello, just a quick heads up. The concluding part of the episode was recorded at a later date, different from the first part. This was because my internet connections was really bad, so we had to reschedule a day to conclude the episode. And the time between each the first part of the episode and the second part of the episode, a lot of things did happen. So when she said the things she talked about at the first part of the episode, she had started doing them and the second part of the episode. So just to give you a quick heads up, so you don't start asking, everything doesn't connect, right? Back to the episode.
I don't hear you. Oh, there. Now I hear you.
Aha. I was wondering what went wrong in the first place. Okay. Good evening from Nigeria. It's good to have you back on the podcast.
Hello.
Yeah.
Well,
Last time
we had our like little.
Yeah.
So close.
Yeah. Okay. Before I feel like I'm having a what we call that post-traumatic podcast failure disorder. I want to chat, but then I'm like, okay, let's do the main thing first before anything happens. Yeah. Okay, bless you. What's wow. What's the advice you give to podcasters that are just starting out?
Oh, right. We talked about that. It was understanding why they want to do a podcast, and it can evolve over time, right? But having more clarity on what the purpose of it is will help people come to it, because then they'll know why they're coming. People don't have time. They're not just going to listen to anything, right? So if they understand, oh, this is where I can go to find out about how to be healthier. This is where I can go to find out about running a podcast. This is where I can go for this. This is where I can go for this. Then when they're searching for it, and all of the copy that you write and all of your episodes will speak to that. So that will knowing why you're having a podcast to begin with.
Yeah, I feel like we're that's a nice idea. We're recording an episode, and it's more like a series, even though it will be released in one full episode. Any updates you think I should know since the last time we chat?
Oh yes, so my new podcast, because we talked about the platform that I'm moving to. So I worked with two of the.
Yeah. See,
I worked with.
you see the thing about stories that when I hopped, so sorry, Heather, when I hopped on the call, because I was trying to like find the last conversation to watch it and actually remember, because I've done a lot of interviews. But the moment you just mentioned this story that you told, I just remember everything we discussed right now. It's the Inspired Choice, right?
Right? Yes.
Yeah.
Inspired Choices Network. And we just came, so my podcast right now is called Back to Me. But starting in June, it's going to be in June, we're changing the name to Illuminate Your Worth.
Illuminate Your What?
Yes.
Wow.
So it speaks more to, like, Back to Me was the name that spoke to what I was doing. And what I'm doing hasn't changed very much, but now it's more focused on helping people understand their own value and their own worth, and what's good, why they're valuable, and why they should love themselves, and how to take care of themselves.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Illuminate Your Worth.
Wait. The earlier when you were about to share the story, you said my new podcast, or is it a rebrand of the old podcast?
It's really a rebrand, and it's on a new platform, so it feels like it's new, even though it's not new.
Yeah.
It's a continuation. It's a continuation. Yeah.
Yeah, he just changed the site.
I've done 225 or something episodes of my Back to Me podcast. There'll be more. I'm still releasing podcasts that I had recorded, and I'm bringing some of those over to the new platform so that people can go back and see some history. So there'll be some continuity. Would you like to join me in a cup of tea?
Oh, I thought you never asked. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Wow, cup of tea. Wow. Usually I get invited to take coffee. Yeah.
Oh, see, I don't like coffee.
I don't drink coffee. I thought I was the only one. I don't never my thing.
I never have. Yeah, I never have. I'm drinking hibiscus tea that I bought in Egypt.
Oh, okay. So I'm guessing it's from the hibiscus plant.
Yes, it's the flowers. They you can turn the flowers into tea, and it's quite delicious.
Well, I didn't know, because usually we used to have those stuff grow in, around the hibiscus flower. I didn't know you could turn into tea.
Yes. Yeah. And it's supposed to be good for you. So, it helps with your heart and your blood pressure and all these good things.
Wow. Is there sugar in it?
No, I don't add sugar.
Ah.
I just go straight.
Yeah, because now that you mentioned hibiscus flower, the taste I'm imagining in my head is that it's supposed to taste like a herbal mixture. I get it. Yeah. Yeah, thank you for inviting me to
Yes.
get. I wish it was a live in person podcast. I would have say yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Get
Wow.
a lot
Okay.
more done.
Yeah. The inspired choice. Okay. That was the last time we chatted. It was like 2 weeks ago or so.
Yes.
The move, like, has the move been completed?
No, we're still doing. So we've selected the name. I know that unless I make a last minute change, I will go live every week at 1:00 Eastern time up here in Canada. And it'll be an hour long. And I haven't done this before, but now I incorporate commercial breaks. And the commercial break might be just me talking about the podcast or my best program. And but I'm also selling sponsorship now. Yes. On my page, you can have a banner ad, or I can read an ad on your behalf if I feel like it's aligned with my messaging. And also, guests are applying to come onto the podcast, and they will pay a small fee. I mean, not huge, to come onto the podcast.
What's the small fee? I need ideas. What's the
Okay.
small fee?
I'm charging $200 to come.
Oh,
And you get to talk to me for an hour, and the episode remains like forever on the station and searchable, and it goes out onto social media, and it goes onto like Apple TV and Google TV and Roku TV. So it goes on 300 TV channels and 80 audio platforms. So I think that's a pretty good investment for you to have that big a wide reach. And you get to promote yourself and your product and whatever. Like, I'm getting a lot of people who've written books who want people to know about the book that they wrote. So I check the book out. I don't read the whole thing because that's a lot of books to read. But,
yeah.
but I check out the book and see if it's something that resonates, and then we have the conversation. And yeah, so I mean, it's a service that you're providing to people. So
Yeah.
people can listen. It's like TV, right? So TV, you watch TV. It's not really free anymore because you can't get it on the internet as much anymore. But you're watching commercials because it pays for all of the expenses of running the TV show.
Yeah. For me, it's. I know a lot of persons are coming on the podcast because they want to appear in front of new audience and new sets of eyes. But the work that goes into recording the podcast, producing the podcast, editing and doing everything, that's a ton of work. Like, imagine if you were paying someone for just one episode. I don't think $200. That's like I don't think $200 is going to take care of everything.
It doesn't.
Yeah,
it doesn't. But
yeah.
that's okay because if you combine that, so $200 to appear on the episode, to have an ad read is a different cost, and like a banner. So all of these combination of things can help to pay for the podcast. And really, when I think about it, because when I moved to the network, I've noticed because they're going to do most of the work now for me that I've been doing myself for the past 4 years. It's freed up at least a full day a week of my time. And in that full day a week of my time, I can use that to do things that generate revenue instead of doing a podcast, doing all the background work of a podcast. So in some ways, I'm going to be able to earn more by paying someone else.
Yeah.
For me.
And then you have more time. Yeah. You have more time. All you just need to do is show up, and then do what you know how to do best. And someone takes care of those boring aspects it's not interesting.
Well, they're interesting when you're first learning them, right?
Yeah. I mean, you've learned them.
Something,
so
yeah.
Yeah.
When I'm learning something, I'm like, this is so cool. This is so cool. And then after a while, I'm like, okay, I don't want to do it anymore.
I mean, it's good, but nah, this is not for me. Yeah. Wow.
So paying someone else, like when you're in your business for yourself, and podcasting is a business, right? Yeah. You reach a point where there's a chicken and an egg. You're like, I need to make money so I can hire somebody so I can make more money. But if you hire somebody, then you can make more money. So you have to figure out where to stick yourself.
I think you have to do it everything yourself. And then eventually when you break even, you say, okay, yeah, you should have someone on the team. And yeah, I mean, having free time is a nice thing.
If it frees up time for you to spend more time talking to clients or doing the things that generate revenue, then that's like, it pays for itself almost, right?
Yeah. The idea is to get enough time such that you do the things only you can do. Like, it's only you that can be the host.
Yeah.
It's only you that can interview them. It's only you that can brainstorm some ideas and say, okay, where do I want to take this podcast to next? Those are things that only you can do.
Have you ever read the book Chill and Prosper?
No, I'm just saying for the first time.
So Chill and Prosper is by this coach in New Zealand. Her name is Denise Duffield Thomas. And she says, your face is your brand. As an entrepreneur, you are the golden goose. So you have to do everything you can to protect the golden goose. Don't let it burn out. So anything that you can offload, do it so that you can use, like, your face is your...
Yeah, the key person of influence.
Like, yeah. And do the things that you need to do. And there's a book called Profits First as well.
Yeah.
Mike Michalowicz, and he's like, the entrepreneur is the person who generates the revenue. But if they're doing all the work that doesn't generate revenue, then they're wasting their energy, right?
Yeah. Oh.
So, and it takes a while to get to that point. Like, it took me years to get to this point, right? Because he said, I like learning new things. I'm like, I'm not ready. I want to learn. I want to do this myself. Covering control freak. I mean, control freaks have a hard time letting go. I talked to a lady yesterday on her podcast. Her podcast is called Everything is Messy. And I said,
oh, yeah. She's been a guest on the podcast. Wait.
Isn't she fun?
Her name is Sarah Wilson, yeah.
Sarah.
Yeah. She's a great guest.
And I told her, I said, I was telling her about the new network and that they're going to do everything for me. She said, oh, but I have a control freak problem. I'm like, let that go.
Yeah.
Focus your efforts on other stuff.
Yeah. The thing is,
she is fun.
Yeah, she's great. She's a great guest. I'd love to have her back without second thought. The thing is, you need to understand the business, like, in general, and that's what learning is. So that when you are giving someone something to do, they can't just tell you, oh, this stuff, and you're like, no, I know what you should do. You're supposed to edit this. No, what's this? You get such that you understand the business from ground up, but you don't get to do the stuff. But you're like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, like, you can do it so that you understand it, and then pass it off.
Yeah, of course. And then you then know what to look at.
I still do my own accounting. Like, I still do my own accounting because I was a CPA, chartered accountant. So I'm like, It's easy. Yeah, I know, for 15 years.
That was a lifetime ago.
I was a corporate executive.
Wow.
So and I quit my job. But so I, like, understand it. I'm like, I can do it so fast. And then I don't have to sort through everybody else's. But I always tell my other clients, like, if you don't understand it really, like, understand the basics of what you're spending, but you don't have to do the accounting, because if it takes you more than an hour, it's too much time. Right? And I take 10 minutes. So
yeah. That's the idea is to save time. And if you end up hiring someone and it takes you more time and have to get it done, you might as well just do it yourself. Yeah. Thank you so much, Heather. I am going to ask you, where can listeners, because I know that we could keep on chatting on for hours.
I know. We could just do a whole other episode, and then your episode will be too long, and people will go, God, why are they talking so much?
You say, oh, the episode was not made for you. You just happen to be listening.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that was the thing. I was like, oh, if we start this episode, we're able to do everything in 15 minutes. And now I'm looking at it now. We've gone through over five minutes now. Okay. Yeah. Probably. Please. Yeah, that's true. I'm so sorry. I promised you I was going to send you Canva templates. I've been working with a lot of things, and editing, and I did not forget. You're still there, but it's just that I'm the one doing everything, editing. Let's not even go there.
I know.
But eventually, when everything is ready, I'll send it to you. So I just say, let me let you know so that You don't think that, oh, you forgot. Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. And I told Christine at the Inspired Choices Network, if wisdom calls, be nice to him.
Yeah, that's true. I must, yeah. So I've been a friend for a very long time, but it depends on who's counting.
Depends
Yeah,
who's
thank you
asking.
so much. Yeah. Where can listeners learn more about you and your podcast and what you do?
Everything is easy to find in one spot because I like one-stop shopping. heatherstewart.coach. You can find the podcast there. You can find my programs there. You can find my social medias there. I was like, why have a whole bunch of things for people to chase after? heatherstewart.coach, and there's everything you need.
Yeah, I'm guessing that someone had taken the name .com.
Well, I like .coach. As soon as I found out there was a .coach, I bought it. And Heather Stewart is a hard name to find because it's so common in North America and Scotland, everywhere European. So as soon as I found out there was a like I have heatherstewart.me, M-E, but I use that for my art. heatherstewart.coach. When I found out there was a .coach, I'm like, who wants a .com when I can be a .coach?
Yeah, right? Yeah. And it's easy for people to just know that she's a coach.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Heather, for your understanding, for your patience, for making that time for me to do this makeup parts to complete the episode.
Absolutely, anytime.
Yeah. Please, when the fruits of this new podcast and project you're working on starts ripping in, don't forget to pay your taxes.
Yeah. We're gonna come back around in.
I'll be coming for my tax.
October, November. Oh, for your taxes.
Yeah.
Your taxes.
Yeah. No. The mafia. You always have to pay the mafia. I'll come for my own tax.
Okay, right. Yeah.
They say you have to settle them.
We call that protection money.
Yeah, protection money. Yeah. You have to pay for protection.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Protection.
Yeah. You gotta pay some protection. It's gonna cost you. Maybe I've been watching too much gangster movies. That's why.
I watch Midsummer Murders, British murder shows. So be careful.
Okay. It's all right. I'm happy. I'm really, really happy for you that everything is going well. And the fact is, my own is making money is good, but the thing I'm really happy for you is the fact that you have someone that gets to like do everything for you.
I'm so happy about that.
Yeah, that's a burden that, I mean, for a while it's easy to carry, but once it's lifted, it's such a nice feeling.
It's amazing. I recommend it for anyone.
Yeah.
Even in small pieces, if you can find someone to take a small piece of something, just is so much better.
Yeah. Once again, thank you so much. Please. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Please, if anything happens, anything comes up that you think I should be aware of, let me know. Send me an email, and we would do the continuation of this episode. Or like the series. Yeah.
Yes. I'll send you a message when the launch is coming out. So
yeah, that's true.
For my launch announcement.
Yeah. Thank you so much. That's it for today's episode of my podcast story. I am Wisdom Okonkwo, and I hope this conversation sparked new ideas and gave you a deeper look into the heart of podcasting. If you've loved this episode, consider supporting the show by buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/wisdomhq. Every bit helps keep the stories going. And hey, don't forget to follow, rate, and share this podcast with another podcaster or creator who would find it helpful. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you in the next episode.